there's a new chip on the old block, a brand new brand of CFexpress and SD cards from a company called Novachips. And after trying them out for the last month, I'm happy to introduce them today as they launch in this competitive marketplace. So in this video, I'll look at their build, performance, and pricing. Hi, Ray here, with a review of these Novachips CFexpress Type B and SDXC cards. But first, who are Novachips? Their products are founded upon the company's unique flash memory architecture. They say significantly outpaces the scalability, performance, and reliability of SSDs that use NAND flash. The company was founded in 2009 with offices in Bundang, South Korea, San Jose, California, and there's even a Canadian connection. They have an office in our capital city of Ottawa. Now, I've pointed this out before in comparing CFexpress cards. We'll see, at least cosmetically, that is the enclosures, seen with different branded CFexpress cards are often identical, and these enclosures from Novachips are familiar to me. Furthermore, they are the best of the enclosures that I've seen, with the metal reinforcements extended from the back of the card around the sides. All cards aren't created equal in this design, and though I haven't personally had any failures with the ones that have plastic edges, this kind of manufacturing certainly inspires my confidence when it comes to durability. Now, I'm not about to pull one of these cards apart to inspect the innards. I'm more interested in the practical performance. That is, do they optimize the performance of high-performance cameras like the Nikon Z9 and Z8 that use CFexpress Type B, and in the case of the Z8, SD as a second card, and not to mention the ZF that has SD UHS-2 as its primary card slot. Regular visitors to my channel will perhaps be aware that I've tested a few other cards for these cameras, and I'll leave you to search out and peruse those reviews if you'd like to compare. But I want to see what these Novachips cards do in real-world usage. So as far as I can tell, this is the real world. We're on a beach with logs and birds. So what I'm here to do is test this card in the Nikon Z9. So we've got the 660 gigabyte extreme card in here, and I'm going to shoot lossless compressed raw and see how many shots we get before the buffer chokes up. There's plenty of seagulls, nothing too exotic, but here we go. And we started to choke there, and what did we get? 76 shots. So that really stacks up very well against any other cards in this class that I have. In fact, a little bit on the high side. I will say that I know from other tests that I've done before this that we're around 70 shots before the buffer chokes up in the Z9. So very, very good. Okay, this time, and I don't think I mentioned that I'm shooting at 20 frames a second with the Z9. I've changed things up to what I would normally shoot, and that is in high efficiency star. I'm shooting high efficiency star in pretty much everything I do, because really there's no visual difference between lossless compressed raw and high efficiency star. So that's what I use for everything. So here we go, and we'll see if we can find another bird here to focus on. Still going. And just started to choke there, and we got 303 images recorded to this card before anything started to choke up. Again, that's very, very good comparatively speaking with any other card in this class that I own. With the Nikon Z9, of course, we have a second CFexpress card, so I could put the same kind of card in here, and if we were using it for backup, we would get tremendous performance. So I'm really not going to do any kind of a test for backup. I know that with these cards, as I said, we'd get superb performance out of this camera. So now I've switched the card. We switched it out for the Express 2 terabyte card, so plenty of room on this card. And we're going to do the same test with lossless compressed raw, see how many shots we can get of these seagulls here before the buffer clogs up. Here we go. Okay, just started to clog there. And we got 69 shots. So really not too much difference. In fact, totally in the ballpark with that extreme 660 gigabyte card. Okay, same card, same burst rate, 2 terabyte express, and we're shooting at 20 frames a second, but now we've switched to high efficiency star. Let's see how many shots we get before the buffer clogs. There, we just got it clogged there, and we got 256 shots. So again, really, this is really very good performance. Very good performance indeed, I think. Only slightly slower than the extreme 660 gigabyte card. Now, when it comes to Novachips SD cards, in this case, SDXC, I have two cards. One is a V60 and the other a V90. So those cards are going to work for my Nikon Z8, which is actually recording me speaking right now, and the Nikon ZF. Now, of course, it makes more sense to use the extreme V90 in the Z8 because after all, the Z8 shoots 8K video, and I've had success with that card shooting 8K video, no problem whatsoever. We can shoot right to the secondary card, the SDXC. Now, when it comes to the Nikon ZF, I found that the V60 works perfectly fine. And of course, if I'm shooting video, this only shoots 4K video and it works just perfectly. And then I rarely shoot burst photography, stills with the ZF. But again, that card works very, very well for my use case. I also ran a test with the 2 terabyte express card for video, dressing it to the max with 4.1K ProRes RAW. I mean, what else would you need a 2 terabyte card for? Unless you're anticipating shooting 23,000 lossless compressed RAW photos. Right now I'm testing this 2 terabyte CFexpress B card from Novachips. This is the Express series. And as I said, 2 terabytes. We have it in the Nikon Z9. And what I'm recording to it right now is 4.1K ProRes RAW N-Log. We're shooting at 1/60th of a second, f4.5, ISO 800. So I also have a 2-stop ND filter in there. We're supposed to get about 58 minutes, I think it was when we started out here, and we're down to 7 minutes 14 seconds. And here we are now with 56 seconds left to go with this test of the Novachips Express Series 2 terabyte card. 40 seconds left to go, and the snow is still coming down hard here in the Pacific Northwest, which is supposed to be the warmer part of the Great White North of Canada. But certainly the last few days we've been having some pretty frigid weather. So here we are now, 17 seconds left to go. 16, 15, 14, 13, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. And the camera's warm, but we've got plenty of battery left here, I should note. Okay, recording interrupted. We're done. So we turn the camera off, and let's see. As I said, the camera's a bit warm. The card is warm, not hot at all. Warm to the touch, that's all. Having no trouble holding it. It's not super hot. It's just fine. So that says a lot about the thermals of these cards, I think, because that's been running for almost an hour, but it's not hot. Also says something for the camera too, which disperses the heat quite well in the Z9. So that's the practical side of things, which is what matters most to me. But when it comes to published specs compared to similar cards in this class, from what I can tell, Novachips specs are conservative. So as I think we saw, all that matters is that the Novachips cards would meet your particular use case, are reliable, and of course, that they are affordable. And we'll get to the latter in a moment. So for the sake of comparison, the Novachips CFexpress Express cards that come in 512 gigabyte, 1 terabyte, and 2 terabyte capacities are rated sustained read speed 1700 megabytes a second and sustained write speed of 1000 megabytes a second. The extreme cards that come in 330 and 660 gigabyte capacities with sustained read speed of 1700 megabytes a second for the 330 gigabyte and 1600 megabytes a second for the 660 gigabyte card. Sustained write speeds of 1600 megabytes a second for the 330 gigabyte card and 1500 megabytes a second for the 660 gigabyte card. As far as the SD cards, we have SDXC V90 Extreme, fastest in the SD line, available in 128 gigabytes, 256 gigabytes, 512 gigabytes, and 1 terabyte. Suitable for recording 4K and 8K video, with sustained read speed of 280 megabytes a second, sustained write speed 250 megabytes a second, and SDXC V60 Express, available in 128 gigabytes, 256 gigabytes, and 512 gigabytes, with sustained read speed of 280 megabytes a second, sustained write speed 150 megabytes a second, except the 256 gigabyte version with sustained write speed of 190 megabytes a second. As I say, I think all these are conservatively rated. As I said on the beach, I base that opinion on the fact that these Novachips cards seem to perform equally well when compared to other cards that I own and use in the same class, but are rated around 80 to 100 megabytes a second faster. I've run all these cards through the usual test process using Blackmagic's disk speed tester and my 10 gigabyte second USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type-C interface card reader with my Mac Studio M1 Ultra. And I'm not so sure these kinds of tests have much relevance, really. Besides, I know from past benchmark tests and YouTube retention stats, very few people watch them. Again, in the field, performance is what I'm interested in. And the Novachips cards certainly get the job done. I think you'll agree. But at what price? Well, here's the prices I'm told will accompany the launch. You'll notice the inclusion of CFast media in the list as well. Yes, Novachips also makes that format for users of Blackmagic, Canon Red, and Zcam cinema cameras, and Hasselblad H6 cameras. As you may have guessed, Novachips supplied these cards for me to test, and I get to keep them. But they've had no say in the preparation of this video or any say in anything pre or post in its production. Again, I've been using all the cards now for the last month or so, and they've worked flawlessly and, at the risk of repeating myself, easily meeting or exceeding performance of other brands in my kit. I do appreciate the robust build, and that gives me confidence that they're going to be reliable going forward. So what do you think? Do these look like cards you'd be interested in adding to your bag? Let me know in the comments below. I'll add purchase links in the description if you want to add some to your bag. So if you found this review helpful, please do give it the old thumbs up. And if this is your first visit, or you're among the more than 80% of visitors who aren't subscribed, please do consider subscribing. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss new content from me. In the meantime, take care, cheers, and we'll see you later.